but I did grow up in Los Angeles, and I would go to bed every single night, quote, with the transistor radio under the covers. I know that you have always held Vin in the highest regard, and to me, this is not some crazy hot take for 2019. I'm going to argue that Vin is the best to ever do it. But in your opinion, what makes Vin, Vin?
Well, it's a combination of things. First, the command of the language. Also, just the sound of his voice. He said wonderful things, wonderfully phrased, perfectly paced. But even if he was just saying the most mundane thing, reading a promo or giving you somebody's batting average, the sound of his voice was so distinctive and so pleasing. The instrument that he brought to it gave him a leg up to begin with. And I think he had this to begin with, this innate sense of the rhythm and pace of a baseball game, but obviously he refined it as the years went by. And then I think crucially there's this, especially in the last 2 decades of his fantastic career, when he was doing the Dodger games, almost always home games on television, those games were produced and directed inside out. He wasn't following the pictures or the graphics or the replays. They were following him. Now, he would have been great under any circumstances, but they ensured that this great broadcasting artist had the best possible canvas on which to work. I don't know if you ever noticed this, but I, as a broadcaster, and I'd often stay up late on the East Coast to watch the Dodgers, let's say, play the Padres, mostly just to listen to Vin. And one of the things you'd notice, never an extraneous replay, never a shot that detracted from the story Vin was telling. I remember after Don Zimmer passed away a few years ago, and Vin was doing one of his wonderful appreciations of Zimmer's life and career, and Scott Van Slyke was hit by a pitch. There was nobody on base. He was hit by a pitch. He wasn't beamed. The benches didn't empty. It was a hit by pitch, which we've all seen 1,000 times watching baseball. 1,000 times out of 1,000 on any other telecast, they're going to reflexively replay that hit by pitch, probably from 2 or 3 different angles. And then that would truncate Vin's story. But they understood, the people he worked with understood, that unless something spectacular or truly controversial happened, in which case Vin himself would pivot, don't get in the way of Vin Scully. So they got out of the way, and he knew what to do with the space he was given.
May God give you for every storm a rainbow, for every tear a smile, for every care a promise, and a blessing in each trial. For every problem life seems a faithful friend to share, for every sigh a sweet song, and an answer for each prayer. You and I have been friends for a long time, but I know in my heart that I've always needed you more than you've ever needed me. And I'll miss our time together more than I can say. But you know what? There will be a new day and eventually a new year. And when the upcoming winter gives way to spring, rest assured, once again, it will be time for Dodger baseball. So this is Vin Scully wishing you a very pleasant good afternoon wherever you may be.